Good afternoon or evening or the next day for whoever decides to watch this when you watch this and how you watch this. Today we're going to be reviewing season 4 of Stranger Things. We might talk about the earlier seasons, but right now we're going to start with season 4 part A because there is a part B that won't be happening until July 10th, 11th, somewhere around there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when that happens, we'll talk about that. So let's talk about season 4. Um, where should we start? Should we start with the? Of course, you start with the beginning of said season.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick review of season 3? Because I feel like season 3 really latches on more to season 4 than other seasons have latched on to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We were thinking the same thing earlier. We were talking about it.
Especially considering we had to. Well, he finished it. I didn't. So
So we had to
Both of
squeeze. We
those
had to
are
squeeze
fresh in our
season.
memory.
We had to squeeze season 3 and 4 into last week, which at first I thought was going to be kind of tough, but once we got started, we kind of
stop.
couldn't put it down.
That show is made like Pringles. Once you start, you just can't stop.
Yep.
Yeah, I just got done watching the entire series over this past week.
Him too.
Yeah.
So
I watched them in a weird order though.
It's a great show, and the boost it gave to old D&D fans and new D&D fans alike was, for me it was one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. They could have done it without any of that and it would have been only a little different, but I'm glad they did. Obviously,
Well, I mean, now in the fourth season, it is a bit more integral.
yeah, but they could have worked their way around
They-
Vecna.
They
You
could have
can use different
but
names, but
it would have been.
I don't know. In the past seasons, they've always used mind flayers and what was
Demogorgon.
the other? Demogorgon. And now
Sure.
we got the name of the current bad guy, which actually did some D&D historic background just to figure out who the guy is, because I remember hearing about him back in 3.5 days, but it's very much a first edition issue.
Absolutely.
So, but that's the D&D part. I want to talk about the 80s. I was born in 83, all right? I remember a lot more about the 80s than, let's say, Jack does, because I was there, partly.
Yeah.
Really.
I was a bit busy not being alive.
Yeah, I was the kid's age in the 80s. I think I was born the same year as Billy. So
Okay.
in the 80s, during the show, I was the same age as Billy, and I started playing D&D in 77, 78, 79, in 81, 80, 81, 70, between 79 and 81, I was playing different amounts and levels of Dungeons and Dragons. Originally, the original, brown and white, thin folded in half books onto advanced. Then we went back to basic, and then we went back to advanced. So, for me, the four kids were just like the kids I hung out with on a daily basis. The same exact kind of relationship, minus the walkie-talkies. We did the bikes. We did, exploring in the sewer tunnels as kids to get that sort of Dungeons and Dragons feel, lighting off fireworks down there, doing, all kinds of stuff except, borrowing cars without permission, that sort of thing. But, we did all the
You
others.
did kill a possum.
Yeah, we did kill a possum. We thought it was a giant rat, but it was a possum.
It is a giant rat.
Yeah. Pretty much the same thing.
I've seen possums up close. They are giant rats. And you got to be
Pretty much.
careful with them.
And we both really didn't enjoy the first part of season 3. It was hard to get through. And I've noticed a lot of people in the chats lately, when people talk about it, that was like the point a lot of people quit. Season 3, before the midway part where it actually got really, really good, a lot of people just said, to hell with this, I'm done. And I get it. I get it.
I
But
originally thought that's what I did, and he just went through. But I remember when we were watching, once the turning point, I got to that. I think episode 4 is when it gets really, really good, and that's where I stopped. Which I don't remember why. I mean, it was years ago, so maybe I was just.
it was
stupid.
probably because he has a tendency to not want to have to wait for the year or 2 years in between. So he just, subconsciously, okay, I'll just wait and watch it later, because whenever a new season comes out, we have to watch the previous season anyways to catch up, especially this last time with, COVID and all that nonsense of, having to wait 2 years. We had the same problem when I was watching Heroes. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah. I had issues with Heroes, but I sat and watched all of it. But yeah.
So you remember when they had the actors strike and there was the 2 years, and then the season came back after and it was garbage. But it was kind of like that feeling for us where we didn't want to, have to hurry up and wait. So
right, yeah, no, that sucks. I didn't mind season 3 because it was character building. It was more character building than it was really anything else, at least for the first half.
Especially with like Robin and Steve.
Yeah, I really liked those parts, especially even during the beginning when it wasn't as good. Yeah. I feel like just everything. Well, I mean, everything involving those characters was good, even in the beginning. I think.
Well, we were spoiled at least by season 1 when it starts right off the bat. It wasn't even by the end of episode 1. You got your first victim to the Demon Gordon.
Yeah.
Then so we kind of got spoiled by the pace of how they were doing the monsters. Then season 2, Dustin finds a baby Demon Gordon. And, there's always the monster aspect. In season 3, we weren't getting any of that. I mean, yeah, we were getting some of it with Billy and Billy, but we weren't getting the same as much as we were.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Because, I mean, season 1, first episode, you get something big. Second episode, you get something really big. Third episode, another big thing happens, and then after that, you're just...
Yeah, it's just the pace keeps on going. In season 3, they're like, whoa. We need to do a little bit more character building because we're bringing in at least
Lucas's sister,
Billy,
Robin.
Yeah. And I didn't mind
Billy was there in season 2, but he wasn't. Well, it's been a while since I've seen.
Yeah, and then they brought in Max in season 2.
Yeah, they brought Max in season 2. Billy was there.
He was just a schmuck.
Yeah.
But I did like how they redeemed Billy at the end, because nobody could be, that messed up and let all those people, I just saw it coming. You knew Billy had a tiny micro of goodness.
We would hope he had a turning point, or he really was that big of a schmuck, using your words all the way through.
Because in the beginning, what I originally thought it was in the beginning when I was rewatching it and I actually had sufficient brain power to understand what was happening, I thought that he was just replaced completely, which is why it made sense that he was just doing all this stuff. But then it made more sense. No, wait, he's being possessed in a similar way to how Will was in the second season.
Yeah, the Mind Flayer was definitely in charge from the get-go. It kind of makes you wonder, because this is the last season. As soon as I think this is the last season.
I think they did actually confirm a season 5.
Oh,
but I might be mistaken.
Those great, horrible people. That means I have to wait for another season. Because the way I heard it, this was supposed to be the last of it. This was going to be the last of the.
That's originally what I was.
Yeah, I think what happened is it was supposed to be 4 seasons, and then during COVID, they were thinking about it, and they had some sort of idea to extend it to a 5th season.
Let's hope so.
But I could be mistaken. I probably.
Yeah. As long as Will, straightens up, and I mean that literally, and starts to fly right, Will just, I absolutely couldn't stand his character in season 4. He was such a good character, and then he's, something's going on that I just don't like about that character right now.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, most of the problems I have with these characters can be summed up with they're teenagers.
Oh, hey, I wouldn't be throwing stones there in glass houses there, Jack. You're a
I
teenager.
realize that. I realize that.
So no, let's like I said in the '80s, man. The '80s, I remember a lot from the '80s. I've been blessed or cursed with a fairly decent, callback memory. Whatever word you want to use.
Oh yeah,
for it.
everything they've shot back to, I've had some sort of experience with.
The mall.
I grew up in I was in California in the '80s, so much of that was just really nice for me.
See, I was a teenager in the late '90s, early 2000s. I mean, I was probably the last of the mall rats because malls are dying all over America. No, as soon as we got the internet, and we realized Amazon could be a thing, which I hate. I absolutely hate the fact that we can order stuff online. I still think people need to get off their asses and go there and get it themselves. But that's
Agreed.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I've been doing eBay for decades, and that's a completely different sort of online shopping because
Is it though?
it really is, because I buy things that no store has.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the collectibles or the rare books or so forth and so on. But when people are like, well, I don't want to get off my ass today, I'm going to order, groceries.
Yeah.
That pisses me off. But that's not what we're talking about today. That's
Right.
The '80s to me were fun. They seemed fun in the the '80s into the early '90s, because I know a decade's only supposed to last about 10 years. It's supposed to last 10 years, but it felt like from 80 straight to 80 to 95, 96 was a solid the '80s. I mean, music changed and a few things, but nothing really changed.
For me, the '90s, I was no longer in California and traveling quite extensively, and so I kind of missed almost everything about the '90s when it comes to some of the things you're talking about. For me, the '90s were, dealing with a whole lot of completely different things. Music. I didn't hear American music for most of the '90s, and when I did, I'm like, thank God I got my CDs.
'80s. I mean, everybody's got their decades, I should say. I mean, and that's the other thing about like Stranger Things. It plays the music of that decade. It celebrates things of that.
Well, that's the I actually I appreciate obviously the heavy metal aspect that they tried to do this season, but they missed things like Oingo Boingo, the Go-Go's,
Oof.
Devo.
Yeah.
They missed a lot of the really Flock of Seagulls, Duran Duran. There were so many bands.
I'm okay with that though. At least it was Flock of Seagulls.
But back then, that kind of music, especially Flock of Seagulls and Devo, that was like really, really not only brand new but huge. And since they're where they're located, the story, I'm okay with that part, because that stuff definitely wouldn't have been popular, in Hawkins,
Somehow,
but in the California aspect, they should have actually, played at least one song from that sort of genre of music that only existed back then and existed, in a big way in both California and New York. Not that, I'm overly proud of that, but you couldn't go anywhere without hearing certain songs.
Oh yeah.
Because all the radios were playing, all the different stations were playing a lot of the exact same music. So it was very difficult to hear that.
That's fair.
Not to hear that. Heavy metal, there was only like one or two stations where you would actually hear that kind of music. And it was, even in California, it was still kind of underground for most of the early 80s. Later on, it became big, and then they decided to completely cancel it to make way for rap, which is why MTV died.
Well, no, I don't blame rap for MTV dying. I blame real show. The reality TV. I blame reality
Yeah,
TV.
when they started pumping everything but actual music onto MTV, yeah, that was a huge thing as well.
I won't because I won't blame rap for that. I might not enjoy it, but at least it was still music.
Well, that was actually their goal when it came to what kind of music they were playing. I know from people who worked there, they wanted to. We won't get into why, but they wanted to replace the heavy metal with
Right.
rap.
Well, yeah, because I can see why.
Heavy metal wasn't selling sneakers. Let's just put it that way.
No, and it's a business, and I hate putting it that way, but music is awesome. I listen from everything from opera to heavy metal and everything in between, stuff like polka, techno, and disco. Disco can go die in a fire with Dan.
Unfortunately, I did grow up. My first 10 years were in the 70s, and I had to endure a lot of that disco, and it's got its place, and that's in the past. Unfortunately, a lot of other countries, it's still hugely popular because it's safe. And I understand. Okay, that's the way you want to go. Cool, but not my cup of tea either.
To be fair, I still find myself every once in a while, if I'm doing something, singing some disco song that that was out way. I'm like Jack in a scenario. That shit was done by the time I was your age. It was just you didn't see it, you didn't hear it.
Well, all my first middle school dances and school get-togethers and things like that, it was disco. That's all they were allowed to play. And if you wanted to dance with a girl, we pretty much, that's what's going to happen.
Freaking fine. If that's the case, I'll jump off the bridge with Dan. No. Anyway, so you got the mall, you got the Ghostbusters, you got the Max walking around with the Halloween mask. Hey, question for you there, Jack. Do you know whose face they used for the Halloween mask?
The Halloween mask?
Yeah.
You're talking about in season 2?
The actual Halloween.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, yeah. Do you know whose celebrity face they use for it?
I do not.
I do.
I figured you would because
as a matter of fact, we were in Hollywood yesterday for his film festival, and I actually stepped on his star on the Walk of Fame along with Godzilla and a few other people. So if you know where Godzilla is, then you know what street I was on, and I actually snapped a picture of Williams, Star, Godzilla, a couple other people that were on that walk because we didn't go far from the Chinese theater that we were at for the film festival.
Yeah, we don't like spending much time in LA.
Yeah, it's.
I don't blame you. I was there as a kid. I was in California once when I was a kid.
To be honest, it was really not safe walking down Hollywood and whatever street, I forget, Highland, I think it is, maybe.
I don't know.
But certain things were in the air that I don't want him exposed to, and it was everywhere. It was literally everywhere. I don't want that affecting his child genius brain.
Yeah, his mental growth.
Yeah. It's everywhere, and people just act like it's no big deal, but technically it is a big deal. I don't know what he's planning on doing Air Force, and if he were to hang out there more than once, it could actually affect things in the future.
No, that's fair. Now, have you ever spent any time in Indiana?
No.
Indiana is my next door neighbor, state-wise. I've been through Indiana quite a few times. I've never lived in Indiana because
I may have passed through it. There's about 20 states I haven't been to yet, and I'm pretty sure that's one of them.
Have you been to Illinois?
No, he has.
Oh, yes. Okay. You've been to Chicago, that's right. Because if you've been to Illinois,
but Chicago.
you've been to Indiana. They're twins in a lot of ways. You just they're twins in a lot of ways. But Indiana is a small, not small. It's a farming. No, it's not even a farming state. It's just a weird state.
Well, it was.
Yeah, it was a farming. I mean, when I think of farming states, I think of Illinois, Ohio, Idaho. Kansas, and a few other states. In the breadbasket, beltway. But that's just my thinking. So Indiana during the 80s had to be one of those hallmark safe places. Because if you're outside of any of the major cities in Illinois during that time period, I'm not saying it was a hallmark postcard picture, but kids, could go ride their bikes. They could stay out till
Even in the 80s for us, we did have the Hillside Strangler and things like that our parents would warn us about, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that may have been late 70s, early 80s. But we could ride our bikes in Cali all day long, not come home till the streetlights came on, and even later. The things we worry about now, which we're not going to talk about, did not exist in the public awareness, even in whispered hushed tones amongst parents. That thing was a complete non-event. We did not know about those things and those reasons to keep the kids inside. The reasons to keep the kids inside were the satanic panic, the drug use, the alcohol, and other things that people do. Those were reasons. But when we were 12 to 15, those weren't things to be afraid of when it came to parents and their children. We were allowed to go out and ride our bikes and have complete freedom until we started basically getting interested in girls or boys, and then the parents would put the kibosh on that and say, oh, okay, now you got to have these rules, etc. But before then, we could ride our bikes, go to a friend's house, play D&D all day, all summer long, go to the arcades, go to the mall. None of these issues existed back then, and it was just a much safer time for children.
Do you guys still have arcades out in where you guys are at?
Yeah, in the malls, and where we were at in I guess it's a mall that we were in. I forget. It clearly was a mall, but I don't know the name of the mall. But yes, there was an arcade there, and we don't have them here in our hometown where we live now.
No.
That I know of. We have things like miniature golf courses where they'll have them there. Where they've got the bumper cars and the what are those boats called? Bumper boats or whatever, and miniature racetracks. Fun centers like that where they have the miniature golf, the arcade, the snack bar. There's places like that.
I think there is
We have a place called Mulligan's that has all of those aspects to it, including the little Formula One racers and things like that, where they have an arcade, but otherwise it's too small a town where we live.
Now, going back to the show in the 80s, season 3, because I want to say it was season 3 for a bit longer, because it really does build it. Season 3 has more to do with season 4, as I said earlier. There's a
absolutely they're more connected.
Yeah, they're much more connected. Season 1 was season 2, and season 2 was with 3.
Right. Like I said, season three was summer. It was summer. That was a summer season, right? Yeah, because Billy was working at the pool.
Hey Sean, hey Bruce, how's it going?
Hey Bruce, let me know if you want to jump into this. We're talking about Stranger Things. I don't know if you had a chance to see it yet, but I lost my train of thought. Give me a second. Okay. So
Indiana arcades.
The mall, the arcades, it was summer, city pools. It felt like the 80s and early 90s. Every aspect, it felt like my childhood. I think that's why I'm enjoying watching it. I think that's something
Absolutely.
me and you have in common. We kind of had that child, that generation worth of experiences. And Jack, I'm really sorry that you don't get that, because the 80s was actually a fun time to be a kid. You had Saturday morning cartoons. You could leave your house after 11, not have to worry about what your mom or dad had to say unless you had chores. They were cool with you being gone. Now it's a whole different subject.
Yeah.
I have to check in every 20 minutes.
Yeah, and nowadays all the kids are morons and
Well,
yeah.
I want to say, hold on. Need a shave. I want to say kids are moron. I think kids, people from the 80s say, well, when I was a kid, I was sheltered. It wasn't we were sheltered, but it was like what your dad was saying. This shit was out there. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed since day two of it.
No, it actually has. When it comes to the thing that we're not going to talk about, I know because I helped, bring those people back home. It exploded at the end of the 80s into the 90s. I mean, mind you, it's always been around, but it exploded as a international business back then. And
what I was going to say, I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, but it was always on the back burner. You'd hear something on
right, but even then, when it happened in the 80s, there was also this thing that's no longer a thing, which was called ransom. And that stopped being a thing in the 90s because they realized they could make more money elsewhere. Hate to bring it down, but that's
true.
When kids were missing, they would usually be found. And if they were, but in the 90s, it became a situation where not only were they never found, but they were never found.
Yeah, right. That was also a really good movie from Mel Gibson, Ransom? Yes.
Anyway. This was a very good movie.
But 80s, that stuff was going on, and your dad's absolutely right. But you hear about it every so often on the news. It wasn't as rapid as it is now.
Where it's an every hour thing now.
The news stations have changed their programming. The worst.
Well, yeah, now there's 100 million that disappear every year that nobody ever talks about.
Right.
You don't hear it. Even with the Amber Alert, that thing should be going off every hour, but it doesn't, because they just don't want people to live in that much fear, because no one would ever leave their home without an armed guard. And that sort of thing is, the kids being safe to go out and hang out with their friends, ride their bike across the street, ride their bike across the city. It doesn't happen. We know because he's the only kid out of almost 1,000 kids.
It's nowhere near 1,000.
But 600.
I go to a very small school.
Well, the entire 9 years he went from kindergarten to middle school, he was the only one to ride a bike.
That's not true. There have been two more.
Two kids who rode 2 occasions out of thousands.
One kid did it one day, and that was it. The other kid did it for the last 2 months of 7th grade.
Okay.
When we returned.
Other than that, he was the only kid to ride his bike to and from school. Mind you, I was there with him. I'd ride him to school, ride home, ride back, pick him up, and ride home. But no other kids did that. No other parents did that because of a whole bunch of reasons, most of them which, are probably, in different categories. But no one would even think about doing that nowadays except in an absolute emergency.
My school was too far away, and I lived up on the hill. There's no way in hell I'd ride my bike to school. It wasn't going down the hill that was a problem. It was riding my fat ass back up the hill. That was the problem. But no, I think that's really cool that you guys ride your do the bike stuff. I think it's more and more people should do it.
We do live on a sort of raised area, but the school is also on the raised area.
We live in the high desert, and we've got weather to worry about more than anything else.
Yeah.
But it's it's still we'll see when he goes to high school next year if that changes, because I do see other older kids that ride their bike, and it's obviously safer for the older kids. But things have changed so much. It was so nice to see, and not just me to see and remember it, but I think about all the people who were watching Stranger Things and seeing how things used to be. Maybe that'll encourage people to try to make their hometowns like that, safer, more open, more friendly, and more keeping an eye on your neighbor's kids for them, without being asked, just to make things go back to the way things used to be, obviously incrementally, until we get to that nice happy medium, because
the
internet and the computers and things like that are very enticing for anybody of any age to want to just hang out at home and do something that's incredibly entertaining, but not so good on the midsection.
Yeah, I understand that. I was gonna say. So as season 3 continues, Billy is doing Billy shenanigans, which Billy shenanigans are, I don't even know if I'm old enough to talk about. And oh God, love that car though. That car was that car. It was a Corvette.
Yeah,
I thought it was a Trans Am.
It was a Trans Am. Yeah, I'm not great with cars. There's a few cars out there I know. I appreciate cars, but I can't tell you what year, made, and model.
Don't sweat it. You're not the only one.
Yeah,
80% of them are. I'm like, does it go vroom vroom? Yes, I need it. Okay. With that being said, then you had music. We kind of talked about music.
No, we didn't talk about all of it.
We'll get there when we get there.
No, there's one very key song that we missed and glossed over.
Def Leppard?
No. Dusty's song.
Oh God. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was also reading Bruce's.
Which was really cute, even though I never saw that movie. It was really cute. I knew what it was as soon as I heard it. And Dusty's relationship with, what's her name? Susie? God, how did I forget that? Was so good in the way that, I don't know about you, but I had so many friends that over a summer vacation suddenly had a girlfriend that we would never see, never hear from, etc. And this one actually turned out to be real.
They always lived in Canada or next state over, which I'm sorry, I'm reading chat. Bruce commented. He's saying, Netflix is too woke, therefore it's not. Yeah, I'm not into it. I don't think Netflix is woke.
No, absolutely.
This show
is safely immune, and if it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't watch Netflix. But this show got me, 4+ years ago, and as soon
any of that.
Well, not before that, but before it was an issue in a platform such as Netflix, that after watching just the first episode, I knew I was going to be stuck with it. And once it's done and they finished it and I can actually buy it in a box set, I will do so. And I probably won't watch it for a decade, but I do want to have it in a box set.
I did hear that they were going to make after Stranger Things ends, I heard that I'm not sure if they are going to, but they want to make another show in the same universe but with different characters.
That's cool.
And maybe in a different time.
See,
that's fine. That's fine.
Spin-off show.
If they can pull it off and make it as good, cool.
I know there was apparently a book.
Would Stranger Things be considered woke? I don't see it.
The show, no.
Yeah,
I think Bruce is really and Sean are talking about Netflix as a company, which we're not going to talk about because that's just going to get me really angry, because I know a whole lot about what's going on when it comes to some of the stuff that Netflix has been doing. And since I'm not in charge of the Netflix subscription in this house, and if I said no, it would still happen. Therefore, I don't watch it. But when Stranger Things comes on, I'm going to watch that. That's their only saving grace in the course of many, many years.
They're about ready to drop another season, another series on there, and from the creator Neil Gaiman, who is an author that I really enjoy.
Yeah,
And
I have some Sandman comic books.
and they're about
Number
ready
one,
to
as a matter
drop.
of fact, back in the day.
They're about ready to drop the Sandman show, and everything I see on it, you know, I might not agree with some of the choices they have playing certain characters, but these are fictional characters. That's kind of where I get off the bus. If these were real, if we're making a movie about, I don't know, President Roosevelt, and it came off as a woman, I'm like, nope, sorry, can't do this.
Fair
But
enough.
these are
Totally fair.
fictional characters.
Right.
It looks like it's pretty close. The trailers look like it is. It's
agreed there, Sean.
I like weird stuff. I don't know. I can always.
I don't think you like what he's talking about. I guarantee it. And if not, we're gonna have some words.
Weird stuff. I don't know. I got my shows. I don't really pay attention to much else.
After the show, I'm gonna tell you one word. You can go look it up, and you'll know everything you need to know.
I think I know what you're talking about. It was on. It was taken off.
Yeah. Let's just move this.
Yeah,
Let's just move this.
Yep. I forgot about. See, I forget. Some things I do forget about, or just ignore outright. Okay.
Yeah, I do, Sean. Season 3 into 4.
What? 3 into 4. Do you think? Where do you think? Okay, Dustin singing the song from Neverending Story, which was a weird ass music video. Oh my god, that was a weird ass music video.
They really did a good job on it. I think it was really cute. It was really sweet.
At the same time, though, Hopper didn't die, but it was kind of
right.
Talking about that whole thing. Like, technically, he's still Billy.
Did you two ever watch? I mean, have you two ever watched the music video to the Neverending Story song?
No.
Nope.
Oh my god. It is a rare treat that I don't know.
I never saw the movie back in the day.
You never saw the Neverending Story?
Nope.
Man, you know how many childhoods that movie wrecked?
I really never heard of it put like that before. I was not a big fan of movies like Legend, Dark Crystal, and I know.
Those are gold mines for D&D. Those are absolute gold mines.
Even back in the 80s and 90s, because my old man worked in Hollywood and brought home stories about famous people, I learned early on that I was never going to be able to separate an actor or an artist from their art and their personal life. It was not going to be in the cards for me. If you're a person that I will not like when you're not on the big screen, I'm not going to give you a chance on the big screen, because bad people often hide behind good deeds. Yeah. And I'm not going to perpetuate that. I don't care how good of a thing you created. If I find out you've done something that I'm diametrically opposed to, I cannot get past it. And I've had my heart broken by musicians, actors, actresses, sports heroes, the whole bit. And I always am very, very careful with what I will, put my eyes on, because it's happened. People I thought were fantastic, some of my absolute favorite musicians, turned into things I cannot stand behind. And I just, I have to be very careful. Even with Stranger Things, there are people that I know I could not have lunch with or have a beer with or anything like that. However, when it comes to the Duffer Brothers, I do not know yet. And what they've created is something that my whole family has enjoyed so far. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but know full well that if I find out 10 years from now that the Duffer Brothers were doing something that I absolutely cannot stand or tolerate, then I will take those DVDs and, make them disappear. Either little guy will get them for his collection and I'll never see them again, or something like that. I can't
No, that's
forgive
fair.
people certain things. There has to be limits, and so far they haven't crossed any of those limits. And I suspect they probably won't cross those limits. And there are not a lot of limits that I have when it comes to, certain things. I'm pretty forgiving with 90% of everything that can happen in life.
No,
But
that's fair.
there's a few things, and so far we're looking okay. The show's been great, made me laugh, made me cry, and if there's a season 5, I will very much look forward to it. If there isn't, I hope that the last 2 episodes will wrap it all up in a nice bow,
Yeah, bow. Yeah, I get
and we'll
that.
all have been better for the ride.
Now,
Yeah,
go for it.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I quickly learned to do the opposite of what he just said. Through many things, I haven't had as many experiences with him to admit I haven't. However,
You've been fortunate.
Yes, but I quickly learned that I just don't think it would be a good idea to do that. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the old saying, "Never meet your heroes," or
Absolutely, absolutely. If you don't want to know, that's fine. That doesn't necessarily make you guilty of the same thing they are guilty of. I don't think that's fair. But
I met few of my favorite people when I was a kid. I met Pauly Shore not that long ago, and I thought Pauly Shore was fun. I thought he was funny, just fucking weird. And when I met him in person, he was funny, and he is still he's Pauly Shore. He's fucking weird. I've never heard anything bad about him other than minor drug issues, but that's not my problem. I do not, that's not my bad.
Yeah, I think he was. For me, he came across a lot like, what's that guy's name? Andy Dick.
Oh yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I'm not going to put him in that category because Pauly Shore disappeared off the face of the earth, and Andy Dick keeps showing his ugly mug in things. And
Right.
I think Pauly Shore was just he was very unaware of how annoying he was. And when he found out, he probably took his money and retired somewhere nice and normal and safe and sane. And I wish him the best, provided he's keeping his nose clean and staying out of trouble. Awesome, but he did have that Andy Dick sort of Paul Rubens kind of you're not gonna
yeah it was weird.
But both of those 2 other guys I mentioned keep popping up or have popped up in unseemly circumstances, whereas Pauly Shore he took his money and disappeared, and to me that probably says more about his character than anything else.
That's fair. So I want to talk about the characters a little bit.
The weasel, exactly.
I want to talk about the characters some.
Yes, we definitely should.
So let's start with favorites.
I got mine. You guys go first.
The little guy, what's your favorite?
You go first, because I need to. I'm not gonna rank them, but I'm gonna need to come up with a
all-time favorite character of the whole show, hands down, for me, is Michael.
Okay.
He's the character that reminds me the most of myself as a kid in that age, despite the fact that I was technically, more Billy's exact age. He and I were born just a couple of months apart, even though he's not a real person. And I really like Hopper's character and his dedication and a lot of other things. But unfortunately, I've heard him talk when he's not on the show. So, I'll forgive him for a little while until the next time I hear him mouth off.
Maybe just don't listen to it.
Yeah, it's hard when you're watching videos to prepare for this video, and you have to watch those videos to prepare for this video.
I prepared for this video, and I didn't.
You prepared in a different way. And after Michael, I think my next favorite character is easily Eddie.
Eddie. Okay. Eddie.
The new DM in
Eddie
town.
Munson.
Yeah, Eddie Munster, or however you say his last
Yeah,
name.
I can't help thinking that
Eddie
there's
Munson.
something to those two names in parallel. And I knew so many dungeon masters and people that were just like him, you know, real showy, real loud, real, metal and all that. But deep down, they weren't the bravest guy in
Cowards.
town. Yeah, and I really hope that in the last two episodes or whatever.
He doesn't die.
Well, and if he dies, that's cool because he'll die bravely, or
Right.
or very sad, like Bob, was it
Yeah,
Bob?
Bob.
Who unfortunately died, in a horrific, sad way.
Yeah.
And then I really liked this season and last Robin's character. She was kind of funny in a lot of ways, unfortunately. But
You're a funny man.
those would be my top 3 favorite characters so far.
She's got the young lady who plays Robin. She's got some famous parents, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawkins.
Really, I would have not guessed that, but now that you say it, I totally see the DNA. I see that, but I didn't know that couple actually had children. So
It's
Cool.
not my business, and I don't really pay attention to it unless doing stuff like this. What about
right.
you, Jack?
All right, I do like Michael, but I wouldn't put him in my favorites. I'd say for my favorites, if I were to do a top 3, I couldn't do a top 3, but if I were to, I'll do a top 5.
Okay.
I'm
fair.
gonna say from.
Number 1.
I'm not gonna rank them because I just can't do that.
Okay.
So Eddie is definitely there. So is Dustin, Alexi, Bob, and
Let's see. Hey, too soon, man. Too soon.
Yeah. At least he didn't die like Bob.
Who was Alexi?
The Russian,
Which one?
the good one.
That helped him escape?
You don't know
Wow.
the guy who got to the doctor?
No.
They got shot.
No.
By
What
the
season?
Terminator.
Season 3. You don't remember?
No.
Terminator walked up to him with a string holding his Looney Tunes doll and just shot him. You don't remember that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then probably Murphy.
Murphy. Which one's Murphy?
The conspiracy theorist guy.
Oh yeah, that guy's great. He is.
Yeah.
You mean Murray?
Murray?
Murray.
Murray, yeah.
I was going to say, who's Murphy? Murray.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Murray's actually a fun character, but I wouldn't put him in top 5.
I'm glad they did more with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked him on the plane. Anyways,
Yeah.
my top is I don't know. I like Nancy. I like Nancy. I knew a girl back in high school who reminded me of Nancy.
She's got a weird face, though. Sorry, I don't mean to be
I think
like
she's
that. but-
pretty, and she's 27, so I don't feel bad when I say she's pretty. So I'm still in the good zone. I think I like. Okay, I'm looking at the characters now. I like Hopper. I think Hopper has gotten a raw deal up until the first season. I think life just shat on him a lot. He's a vet from Vietnam. His wife leaves him, and his daughter dies. You know,
Daughter dies, then wife leaves. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's done a lot with what life's thrown at him. But that whole Enzo's restaurant thing, that kind of, and the events leading up to it, and trying to hook up with Joyce, etc. That was just a little bit too.
That's it. I mean,
That's where he fell the most in favor. Where I started disliking him a little. He was a bitch.
Miami Vice was a big thing back then. What can I say?
I think season 3 is kind of what pushed him down a bit for me, but it didn't push him down that much.
No.
Yeah, I like Hopper. I understand why people like Michael. he just something about his personality just drives me up the wall. I want to punch him 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually remind me of anybody I know. I've seen that personality before, and I'm not saying it's a bad personality. I'm just saying it annoys me, and I've never really understood why. Just something about that personality just annoys me after a while. I like Murray. I do enjoy Murray. I like Eddie. So, actually, what I want Steve and Eddie to get their own spinoff. That's what I want, with Dustin popping in every so often.
Yeah.
I can see that,
Never thought about it, but yes.
especially if they're a couple years older and still tracking down this stuff.
I want, don't get me wrong, I don't want any of the characters per se to die, but if a few of them just like go off and do other things, like Lucas,
Right, they're going to end up in different the younger Fantastic Four kids are going to all end up in different colleges and different things, whereas the older kids are possibly never going to go to college or do other things that could involve working for a government agency or creating a government agency or something like that. I could see that. How about your least favorite characters? Characters you just can't stand.
See, Mike's kind of on that list. You guys go first.
That's cool.
I'll go first. So, season 3 Max didn't like. Season 2 Max was good, and season 4 Max I liked. But in season 3, no.
She is more screwed up now than she has been the other seasons.
Yeah,
that's some damaged goods. And
yeah.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so other than Max?
There's probably a few. I just can't think of them.
I know one.
You say that.
Michael's dad.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like him very much.
There's literally nothing about him to like. He is the quintessential worst dad in history and biggest schmuck in the show.
Maybe not worst, just most.
I've joked around about it my own, Father's Day. Hey, Father's Day is this month, and I'll make the joke. I'll pick up go to a random gas station, leave a Father's Day card just in case she shows up there. But yeah, I've seen that character was on the show for like 2 episodes and he was just gone, and that's kind of how he stuck in my head. He was just gone, and I completely forgot about him.
He's barely there. The few scenes he's in, he's not doing much. He's in the beginning. He's in every season.
No, but in season 4, he did something. He said something. I forget what it was.
Oh, yeah. In season 4, he was just kind of being a dick.
Yeah, when he was basically wanting the Hellfire Club to basically all be rounded up and tried without a fair trial.
Oh, I was thinking of before that. Yeah, I don't remember much. I don't remember what he did in that last episode.
And then the other character that
he just kind of flew past me.
Can't stand, especially now in season 4, which is a shame because the character started out real strong, but Will Byers has turned into someone I thought
you were gonna say Jonathan. To be honest.
No, yeah. If they're going where I think they're going, then they completely intend on breaking up the Fantastic Four, and that's not cool.
I don't mind that they're going that way with him because it is what it is. I knew guys like Will back in high school and junior high. They kept it to themselves. They were about as closed off as Will is.
Right, but they're alluding to the fact that he's more than just a little bit jealous. And that is a great way to destroy
a friendship.
Well, not just a friendship, but 4 friendships.
It's killed bands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Yeah, it was everyone like that.
There's nothing new underneath the sun. I don't care that he might actually be
That way.
way in real life, and he wants his character to be more like him. I get that. There's nothing, I will defend the people of that nature. Oh, God, it feels like I'm saying a bad word, but it's not. He's just gay. There's no way. And it's been around.
Well, I mean, they could just be, it could just be his nature from season 1 that he's just, let's just say, sensitive. Okay, or as Michael said, that he doesn't like girls. Maybe he just doesn't like girls yet. Whatever. But
he's gay. He's gay. And I really that aspect.
I think it's pretty much a thing. If you see when in the beginning of season 4, when they're doing the My Hero from History, I forgot the guy's name, but you can see. I know you can see a Union Jack on the thing that he made, and the guy is the guy that cracked the
computers. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Oh God, he is the father of computers, and he was gay. They screwed it. Oh my God, that guy had. Do you know who he is historically? Have you read into him at all?
I haven't read into him, but I heard the story.
I've
never specifically looked into it, but I've heard of it.
He got a raw deal in the end.
Yeah.
I definitely, They just they put him on a piece of money. I don't know what pound it is, but I know he's just this past 2 years or 3 years they put him on a piece of on a money, a British money, and the guy. The guy saved our ass from the Nazis. He made the first computer, and he gets that. He gets such a raw deal in the end, and that's bullshit. But that's my opinion. I don't, to each their own. And what you guys do behind closed doors is not my business. You make a character like that on TV that is a kid that's going through that shit as a kid and do it tastefully, more power to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that it's, like I said, it's just a great way to destroy a whole bunch of friendships that is for me, that's what the show was all about. From the very beginning. I grew up in a Fantastic Four group of friends. We were together always.
Yeah.
Every spare moment we were hanging out together, and that's the kind of thing that completely destroys it for everybody. Not just the two people, but the other two people, or 6 or 5 or whatever. It just ruins it. And it's one thing if they go, they're at a point where they can go 2 different ways, maybe 3. And if they go a certain way, that's it. It's ruined for all 4 of them. If they go another route, everybody's fine, cool. He keeps it to himself, his precise feelings toward another individual. Cool. Keep it to yourself, never act upon it, etc., because it's never going to happen. And you'll grow up and, eventually you'll meet that person that makes everything better.
Yeah. I mean,
and they could go another route where we're just speculating.
Yeah. Also, I want to address some of the comments here. So
Thurston Howell.
Yeah, Thurston Howell. Lucas's sister, Erica.
I think she's great.
I like her a lot.
I like her, but I hate her and I like her so much at the same time.
I can't think of anything bad to say about her. She's one of my favorites. Just not up in the top 5.
I like a lot of the stuff she says and does, but I also just she's really annoying. But I like.
I'll agree. She's just a little bit too ahead of the curve for her age bracket.
Also, I find
it smart to know it all for her age. She shouldn't.
I don't know. Intelligence has no.
I think
she's 11.
Yeah, she's 10 in the first one, 11 in the second one.
She knows a little bit too much.
Being, I think,
for 11.
I think the actress is a lot older. I mean, obviously she's a lot older, but a lot older now. What, she's 15, I think. The actress.
Erica Sinclair.
Yeah,
she
Erica
is 15 in real life.
Yeah, 15. So I mean, yeah, it's 4 years older, but
It's
And I
Hollywood.
have to, and Bruce's comment, I do agree to a point from season 1 and maybe 2, but after a certain point, they had so much going on that 11 was just no longer the Mary Sue of the show.
which I don't think she was in the beginning.
No,
I think-
because Nancy could easily have stolen the show during season 2/3.
yeah,
And
I think what it was is that the reason it seems like that for many is that
she has
because
powers.
well, not just that,
Mhm.
but because she doesn't really talk very much.
Mhm.
I mean, she probably doesn't know English very well. Well, she doesn't know English very well. She says that
It's
in
obvious
season
she
4.
does not know English very well.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the letter that she wrote to Mike in the beginning of season 4, she's saying like, my grammar is getting good, but I don't know how she writes it. But she doesn't write it very well.
Yeah. She's been, she's just above functionally retarded technically. Hate to say that, but that she
Well, not
technically,
just above, quite
But
a bit
yeah.
above. But
she's definitely been stunt. Her development has been stunted, but
she's definitely a few years behind.
which is
because of all
probably
the
why
time
she and
elapsed.
Michael are together, because emotionally he's an incredibly emo kid, but that's one of the things I
think
like
that's
about
why
him.
that's the other issue with him. He's such a dick.
Well, it's not so much that he's a dick. He's he he's a little spoiled,
Well, his family.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so therefore, when college rolls around,
I'm not-
I'll take it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's cold in here.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, you do you.
All right. So yeah, it's just Mike is the rich one. His family is really poor, and I don't know if we see too much of Lucas and Dustin's life. I think they're like well off. I think, but I could be mistaken.
Who?
Well, Mike is obviously his family is rich,
Mike's family is rich.
and Will's
Dustin,
family is poor. But
yeah, Will and his family are yeah.
Yeah.
A single parent, income does not make for a wealthy
Yeah.
childhood, unless like Bill freaking Gates.
yeah,
So yeah, no, and Dustin, I think Dustin comes from I haven't seen Dustin's dad either. I
yeah,
seen
we
his
haven't
mom.
seen his dad.
What?
Yeah, we haven't seen his dad as far as I'm aware.
And it might be another single. I mean, there wasn't that many. There wasn't that many single parents as there was later on. At least I don't remember there being a whole lot more until like the 90s. It really kicked off. I was raised with a stepfather, or I would have been, raised in a one parent household. Sometimes I wonder if it would just been easier if I was, but I think my opinions on raising kids is I think the kid, as long as the father or the mother is of good people and just doesn't work out with the parents don't work out, the parent to the kid should be in the kid's life. But that's just my opinion. I might be wrong. Dustin's mothering mom probably chased her dad off. I'm not touching that. I don't like, as your dad's saying about the Fantastic Four, and I'll get back to this one, but I think the Fantastic Four is kind of already broken up. I think I think the honeymoon state of their friendship is over.
Yeah, I mean, Will left.
Will's left.
And Lucas is drifting off.
Lucas is gone. I mean, he's there, but he already has 1 foot out the door.
Yeah. I think the only reason he walked back in is because all the basketball boys, they were just trying to kill Eddie.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that whole thing, wasn't for their manhunt, then he would have just left.
Yeah, I think his conscience is the only reason why he showed back up.
Yeah.
Because it feels like Dustin and Steve have more a friendship. Well, they kind of got the older younger brother vibe going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who else? I'm thinking the four. I mean, it was Dustin, Will, Mike, and Lucas. Lucas has already got one foot out the door. Mike can't get past his own freaking nose. It feels like
Yeah.
Dustin's going to be that guy at the end of senior year. He's going to be looking around. It's like, well, I came to high school with four friends. Where are they?
Yeah. They're
And
gone.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be Will's actions or no actions that's going to break up the Fantastic Four. I think it's just age and time.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the beginning of in season 3, it kind of felt like Dustin was splitting off, but then beginning of season 4, it felt like Will was gone. He's barely in the picture.
Right.
So Will's gone. Then you have Lucas, Mike, and Dustin, and Lucas is leaving.
Lucas, yeah.
By the point the season start, he's leaving. He said he got one foot out the door.
Right.
Which would leave then just Mike and Dustin, which probably would eventually break apart by the end of their high school years.
Yeah.
So I assume the only reason why the three of them might stick together is because Lucas pretty much got kicked out of the basketball group.
That's not going to happen, though.
Well,
it might. Depends on how it wraps up because he's already showed his colors to the rest of the basketball team, and that
they want him dead.
They want him dead. Yeah.
Yeah, but in today's society, that's just not going to happen.
We're not talking about today's society. We're talking about the '80s. Smear the
no,
queer.
I'm talking about how they write things, trying to.
I don't know.
He's gonna get the full scholarship, and that probably will take him out of the picture. He'll go off to a different college to get recruited to play the full scholarship.
Even though in the 80s they were looking. I mean, I can think of at least 4 or 5 talented African American athletes. Michael Jordan being one of them. Shaq being Shaq was never. Well, Shaq is a good basketball player, and I could think of at least 2 more that once.
And a D&D player supposedly.
What?
Pathfinder or something. Doesn't Shaq play like Pathfinder?
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about the basketball aspect, not the gaming. But they got swooped up by colleges as soon as they got out of high school because how well. And this is their freshman year. If Lucas stays with basketball for the next 4 years of high school and actually becomes something good, those colleges were A, they need to have a black kid on their basketball team, and B, we're actually looking for talent. That's only if they decide to make his character be one of, have decent skills. But making that shot last freaking moment in the basketball game for state champion didn't hurt at all.
Yeah, the only thing with that is because in the first few episodes he was with the basketball team hunting Eddie, but I think it's around halfway through when he rejoins with the main group. Because I guess there's 4 main storylines happening. So you have.
He is not wrong.
He is not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong.
You're very much not wrong.
And that's why I can relate to Michael so much, probably.
You know what kills D&D groups? Girlfriends.
I was actually really lucky. I had a long string of girlfriends that all played D, mostly because I got them into it, and they stuck around, and things happened, etc. And a lot of them were really, really strong players. For all it's worth.
Trying to behave, but your wordage on that was amazing. I just want you to know that. Just think about what you said.
I have my moments.
You have your.
Love you both to death, but yeah. Wow. Okay. Remember, this is a family show.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the cat to just start exploding. Come on, Bruce, where are you, man? And sorry about the heat, but we've got heat and apparently we have tornadoes here in California because
Well, the reason it was cold was because we had the air conditioning on
Mhm.
for. Well, we've had it on for an hour, but we've had it on for a long time, cooling this room down.
it's like 8 by 8.
Which I don't understand. I am both freezing and sweating at the same time.
It's the water.
But I haven't drinking.
I get that.
I drink the water actually.
No, as me and Jack were talking, I don't think, as I said, I don't think it's Will.
Sorry, Thirsty. We do what I do and take your device and turn it on in the car, and everybody in the car is wondering what the hell you're listening to. That's always fun.
Okay. As I said,
Well, actually, what happens with him is he listens to our own videos while we're in the store blasting them. He's done that.
It's either that or Salty Cracker. Take your choice.
I tried to listen to Salty Cracker. I don't know. I don't exactly agree with.
I'd rather hear
neither.
He's one of my favorite human beings on the planet.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather not hear someone blasting anything while I'm shopping. That's what I would prefer. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes
you'd be amazed how many conversations it actually strikes up when I do things like that, or the looks that I get from people.
What he also does is whenever he meets someone, he instantly tells them about the channel.
I told Edward James almost about our channel yesterday. Are you kidding?
That was a bad idea. I don't like that.
Yeah,
I tried to get DM James on today, but he only watched season 1 and he has a game today. But I was trying to get him on the show today. But I want to really circle back to the characters really quick. I think
Thanks, Bruce.
How I think it's going to be your Fantastic Four theory. I don't think Will is going to be the one who blows up. I think Will is going to be the Spider-Man of the group, where Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four for a while and then leaves. I think I don't know about Lucas.
I think it's going to be a combination of things. Lucas is going to go to college far away, and
I think they're all going to go to college far away, other than Dustin. Dustin's going to be the only bastard that's still stuck in his hometown of in Indiana.
Yeah.
No, because I can see Lucas's sister taking over for Lucas.
Lucas's sister.
Yeah.
Oh, look, yeah, Lucas's sister
taking over for him.
Else, yeah.
And Michael and hopefully Will still keep playing D&D with the three of them and Dustin.
Well, Will is over in California.
Oh, yeah. You're right. So
the original group, it's only Lucas who's barely there because he's playing basketball and wants to be part of the cool kids. Michael and Dustin. Max is around, but she doesn't want to play D&D.
Which is a shame because she'd be a natural.
Erica plays D&D.
Yeah, which I found
surprising. Real quick on his sister. I don't know who was dungeon mastering for her in AD&D to where an 11-year-old child has a 14th level thief. That is some seriously shady, suspicious gaming going on there.
I think it might have been the friends that we saw her with when she was getting the ice cream in season 3. Because in the beginning,
D&D was a dirty secret back in the 80s.
I don't know how that happened.
Unless her, Dustin, Mike,
she would literally would have had to have played every moment of her life for about a year straight to get a 14th level thief. Maybe 6 months strong, really hardcore strong playing.
That's when she start playing at the end of season 3. Then she plays throughout the summer. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that version, but there's enough time there where some leveling could have happened. and she looked like she was really getting into it in season 3 once she realized what it was. And
When she got the donation box, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's a little suspicious. I'm just going to say that.
She definitely started before not before season 3, before that scene where she gets the box. She definitely started before then. But the exact timing is weird.
Yeah.
What's happening, Cal? No rain here. As much as we need it, the rain, Cal, I hope we don't get it because we got plans this week. It is summer vacation and all.
It's funny,
Like
out of the new cast of people, Will's wasn't that Will? His older brother,
Jonathan's
friend, who
Argyle.
Yeah.
Character.
I knew like 15 guys like him back in high school
and college.
I didn't really hang out with. Well, you possibly, but in college,
absolutely. Absolutely.
My crowd.
I knew so many people like him. He's a fun character. Unfortunately,
he might be looking into the Mormon lifestyle. No, or are they Mormon?
Who?
Dustin's girlfriend.
Yeah, Dustin's girlfriend was Mormon.
Yeah.
Dustin is agnostic.
Yeah, actually, I like her character a lot. She was really, really cute and sweet, and exactly what Dusty deserves. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because we know
what I didn't understand was that entire household of her brothers and sisters.
Oh, I know that.
What the hell was going on there?
I know that house. Being Catholic, I know that house. I know that family. I know 5 of those families. Dad's off doing on the computer because he's really the breadwinner. Mom's doing God knows what at church, leaving all the kids home, and the oldest have to watch the youngest pecking order.
Right, but did you do a head count of all the kids? There's like 6 or 7 kids there.
They're Mormon. They breed like Catholics. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird when I first saw it, but I remember wait, no, Mormon. Makes sense.
Okay, there was the acting duel, which is 2. Then there was 2 in the kitchen. Then there was the wild child. So that's 5.
That's 5. Yeah. Plus the oldest daughter.
There was the oldest daughter. So there were 7 kids. There were 7 of them.
Yeah, 7.
Who hooked up with Argyle in the van?
Yeah.
And then Susie.
Yeah, so there's 7 of them. Yeah. No, I know that. I know that household. I've seen that household several times. There's a doctor family I know. I'm not going to say names, but that guy has 12 freaking kids.
Yeah, I know a few people like that. No families just like that.
He's a doctor, and the mom works as a society worker, not as she is an SJW, but she works for fundraisers for the school, fundraisers for the church, fundraisers for this, fundraisers for that. Not SJW, but the 80s mom who had too much money and too much time on her hand and feels like she needs to give back. That's that household.
Yeah.
And if they have a computer at that juncture of time, that family has money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what dear old dad does, but there's moolah coming in that house to be able to force 7 kids, and for him to be stay at home and work.
Mm-hmm. Something going on there.
That's something that didn't actually even happen in the 80s, but yeah. Although it could have been a Saturday when they got there.
It looked like it could have been a weekend, yeah.
Wait, what episode was it?
I don't remember.
It was episode 6, 5, 6, or 7.
It was spring break. So yeah.
Yeah, it was spring break. It could have been Saturday.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would have, but yeah, because every episode in this show usually is about a day, I think.
Half a day, yeah.
Yeah, so each season is about a week with a few extra days in the end. So assume, because the first day of spring break which most people consider to be Saturday. I'm not sure how it was back then or with those people.
Spring break normally started on a Friday. That's when I was in cool. What was cool? I was never cool. When I was in school, that's when it normally started. We don't need to talk about me in school. It's nothing good comes out of that.
Yeah, for us and most people I know in this whole area, it's Friday is pretty much a nothing day, and most people just skip it anyways. And then it officially starts on Monday, but it technically starts on Saturday, whilst for most people it starts on Friday. That's how it usually.
Last couple of days of school at the end of the last couple of days of my senior year. Well, you guys could show up for attendance, but we already gave you your piece of paper. You already technically graduated. It'd be nice if you showed up. I'm like, my locker cleared out. Yes, peace.
Yes.
I was on my way to rugby practice down in Champaign.
Yeah. Okay, so season 4 starts on Friday. Episode 1 is Friday, but I don't know if it's all of Friday. Does Mike get there on episode 1?
2.
Okay. So yeah,
the first episode 1 is when they have the D&D game. He leaves that night. He leaves that day and he's down there. Roller rings were never a thing here. We have one in Pekin, but
they were not only were they big, but I had one at a miniature golf fun zone area that took up almost an entire city block that had an ice skating rink, a roller rink, miniature golf, an arcade, bumper boats, bumper cars, and Formula One racers and batting cages all in the same area within a 5-minute bike ride from my home.
See, you hear this. Your dad had all this growing up. I had cornfields. I mean, look to my right, my left, cornfields. Look to my right, cornfields. And, I'm surprised there's not more.
The funny thing is that place is still there 40 some odd years later.
Is it still going strong?
Oh, yeah.
Good for them. I'm a big horror fan. I grew up, the first movie I can remember seeing in theater, God help me, in the 80s, major one. Ice rink. Yeah, there's the ice rink, but yeah, they closed. Okay, Kai. Really big one in the 80s, 3 major ones plus an ice rink. They were still big through the 90s. See, I knew there was a roller rink in Pekin. I knew
Hello.
The ice skating place in by Lakeland in Peoria. I did not know there was another. Damn it, Kai, you're gonna make me think. But I was too busy. I don't know. Anyways, I'm a big fan of the horror movie scene. I have been since I was a kid. My stepdad, the first movie I remember seeing in theaters was Alien. And you're wondering how that happens because Alien came out in like 78, 79. Mm-hmm. Well, Aliens 2 came out in 85, I believe. And back in the day, movie theaters would do this thing called a double feature.
Yep.
And so they went to go see Aliens 2. Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense, Kai. Pekin, Washington. I spent time in Washington, but I did not know that there was one in Washington. Oh, pools. I knew there was a pool in Washington. And Dunlap. Do I look like I was that rich growing up, Kai? Dunlap is the rich people area. I'm not one of those people. Sorry. Chat. But I love not only the D&D references that I get just because I know older players like yourself, but all the horror movie references that they made in season 4. Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, Vecna is basically just Freddy Krueger. I mean,
you got Freddy Krueger and Nancy.
Yeah.
You have the Michael Myers mask from season 2.
And
Yeah.
season 1 and season 2 were kind of like Alien and Aliens.
Yeah. You got a headstone in season 4 that says Meyer on it.
Yeah.
And don't forget, season 4 had Edlund as Victor Creed.
Oh, the guy who played Freddy. Yeah. God. Robert Englund was in it. Yeah. I'm just missing the guy Kane who played Jason showing up in some scene, and we would have a full 80s horror. They didn't bring up Chucky as of yet,
which is a good thing.
I didn't mind Child's Play.
Well, yeah, actually, they did.
When?
Max?
When?
Sorry.
I don't.
She is Chucky.
Oh.
Her being a red. Yeah. I was wondering if that's where you were going with that one.
I know it's a cheap shot, but
That's very.
She was awful. She was just awful.
In season 2, she wasn't that bad. Season 3, she is just Satan. And in season 4, she was fine.
Well, season 3, her and 11 are doing that girl buddy things going on. We don't need boys, buddy, and that happens. We boys do it too. I mean, the whole what was that? Little Rascals was all about doing that.
Yeah,
that was 100 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just using it as an example. I'm just, I'm
pretty sure she grows up to be Jen Psaki, though.
I feel like I should know that name.
It's okay, Bruce does.
Bruce does?
No,
that.
So, we got Freddy Krueger, we had Aliens, we had Michael Myers. We have Freddy Krueger, I just said that. I understood what they did with the Black Widow. The guy who plays him is a brilliant actor. He's a British actor. I've seen him in a handful of other things he's done.
Yeah, a lot of the actors are British.
As soon as he came up, I knew there was something suspicious, but my mind was going a different route. Obviously, you guys could probably think where I was going.
What?
That's kind of where my head was going in the very beginning, though, too, to be honest. I'm like, he's just a tad bit too friendly.
And I didn't like, I wish they would have done something a little bit sooner, but I understand they work a year at a time, and they don't actually have things carry over from season 1 is going to carry all the way over to season 4.
Some stuff did, though.
Like a good mystery kind of thing, a well-written mystery would. It was very Agatha Christie, where they pull the bad guy out at the last minute.
Well, it's not full Disney where they just, this guy was good, now he bad. You remember this guy you saw 15 hours ago? Yeah, he's actually the main villain. And there's been no villain up to this point, but he's evil now. Because at least Vecna was a villain throughout the whole thing. We didn't know who he was.
Right. I like the way they actually handled his character.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because it's 4 different characters that we found out the whole time was the same guy.
Right. I don't like horror movies where, bam, it's in your face right in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I did think it was kind of cheesy how, I don't know, the guy's we were talking about this before. That actor who played Vecna before he's Vecna is...
Well, he also played Vecna as Vecna.
Oh, he's a little too young to have... The actor is too young to be playing the part that he's supposed to be playing.
Well, I think he might be older. He might be my age, or if not a little bit older.
He doesn't look it, though.
Because the earliest he could have been born was 46, because Victor got back from the war, and assuming that whatever, I don't know if his wife...
He didn't leave children. He didn't leave his wife with children when he went off to the war.
Because if that was the case, then it would have been impossible for this whole thing to work out.
Right.
Because he didn't look that old when he was a child.
Yeah, it would put him in the 40 to 45-year-old character that was the orderly that became Vecna.
Because 59 is when the wife and daughter die in 59. Then 20 years later is when the massacre at Hawkins Lab, all that happens in 79, which would leave 20 years in between those two. And assuming he was the youngest he could possibly be, or the oldest he could be then was
10.
well, 4.
Oh shit. Okay, no, he's in his 30s though. He's 33. He's 88. I mean, he was born in 88. He's 33. I
could see him being a bit older than I am in the story.
Right, but he doesn't look. He comes across in the first episode.
Actually, that's probably about his exact age, 33.
He just comes across as a lot younger when he's talking to Elle as an orderly.
Yeah, as the orderly, if he was 33 as the orderly, because if you assume he was born in 47, which would make him 13, that'd make him 13 when he killed his mom and sister at 13. Then 20 years after that would be 79, the massacre, when he is the orderly or number 1. Then he becomes Vecna at that point, which would then be like 6 years later. He is when the story when season 4 happens. I think it's 85.
Yeah, he just looked way too young to be that.
But if the actor was 33, then it would make sense for him to be 33 or 34, which is the age he probably was.
I also found it a little cheesy. I don't know if you noticed that there was a scene where during the massacre, they just overdid his white makeup. They just put a crap ton of white makeup on him to make him look so different. I don't know if you remember that. It was just a little cheesy. It was like, whoa. He looked like this, and then suddenly he uses his powers, and he's an albino.
Well, every time they use their powers, they seem to go a little bit anemic. I've noticed, even from season 1, because I'm not. You have to lose a great deal of blood to go white that fast. He was bleeding out of the side of his neck. He did have a nosebleed. I'm not saying he was. In faces, you get cut anywhere in the face from whatever, boxing, whatever, day to day. Nothing bleeds as fast and as much as your face. I don't know why, but it's biggest pain in the butt there is.
Yeah, so he was bleeding from the neck, nose. He might have been bleeding from both nostrils because of how much he was using.
Yeah, I don't really think so, though.
Well, they didn't show it. I don't know if they showed him his nose bleeding or if he had already wiped it away when 11 got there. I don't remember if that was a detail that was shown.
I loved how they did they made you think that it was her who killed all those kids. Then it turns out it wasn't. And I guess right when that happened, I don't know. So, from my understanding, they had their little toss-up, and she forced him into the upside down.
Yeah.
If not created it.
I don't think she created it.
I don't think there's too much there going on for her to create.
Which then leads me, which we were talking about earlier.
The power structure?
Yeah, because you've got the Mind Flayer.
I think Dustin's theory is right for 2 reasons. One, because it makes sense, and one, because there was something that Netflix posted that kind of accidentally proves it being right.
But that still means that.
Wait, what?
So he's not. You don't think he's a general? You think there's somebody else out over there?
Well, there is.
Well, I think Dustin's theory is right that Mind Flayer is the leader and
Vecna is
his top guy, his top general.
I don't know about that. My only issue with that is
why he wasn't released earlier.
Right. Why he wasn't a thing before season 3.
Right. Well, the Mind Flayer itself looks like a spider.
Yeah.
His whole thing is he's got a weird obsession with spiders.
Yeah.
And he is, I mean, he is not like big letter G God level over there, but he's got juice. He's got some serious.
Right, which also leads us back to why wasn't he a thing sooner? As soon as L was dealing with, fighting off the Upside Down and interacting, why didn't Vecna just instantly just attack her?
I think the reason why is because season 1, the Mind Flayer doesn't know about 11. Or maybe it knows a bit about her, but not very much. Season 2, when the Mind Flayer sees 11, then that's when it realizes.
Vecna should have said, "I'm on it."
Maybe, but at the same time, if the Mind Flayer wouldn't want to just play that card immediately, as soon as, because presumably he had some sort of other plan involving the Flay and Billy and all those guys.
Maybe, but
I think what it was is that the Mind Flayer didn't know about 11. Maybe it had heard about 11, but from Vecna, but maybe not. Then
Continue. I have a quick thought, but continue.
Okay. So then season 2 happens, and they come face to face, and the portal closes, and the Mind Flayer now has 11 as number 1 priority.
Mm-hmm.
So he commands the part of him that was inside Will that is big enough to survive on its own, or maybe he can just, those parts can't survive, to then go in to the rats and have them do all the things that the rats did, and presumably also cause Billy's car to crash. I don't remember if it was specifically the rats or anything that caused it, but causing Billy's car to crash, so then it can possess Billy to then drag in all those people to possess and then kill in the warehouse. So then once he's gathered enough people, they can go in and kill.
Yeah, because that Mind Flayer was nothing but meat and bones.
It was parts. So then that happened, and
here's the thing. I think Vecna is, if you look at it as a chessboard, because remember later episode, they were playing chess.
Yeah.
Chess. If you look at, let's say, the Demogorgons are pawns.
Yeah.
Mind Flayer might be a bishop, might be a rook. It's one of the bigger pieces. Mm-hmm. I think Vecna, though, is the king. I think he is the one who's playing all the cards.
I don't think so. It doesn't make as much sense then.
It could. I definitely see why it could be that way. It just, something about it doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
I can see it, but
here's the thing. To me, it's feeling more and more like they're writing it as they go along, as opposed to here's our 4-year plan when they proposed the story.
I think that they had the idea from the beginning.
I
really don't feel that.
Well, it's also, if you look at D&D, it's a leveling up game. Every time your component just needs a tad bit stronger than the last. I'm looking at chess because her and Vecna did play chess, and the movements are about the same. D&D in a lot of ways is like playing chess. Only you're using more of the role play aspect of it than just moving your pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where my head's going. I think he's it. I think he is. There might be somebody above him, but I really think he's the one pulling the strings over there, and he's just trying to attack them.
If that's the case, then it's a foregone conclusion that L11 will defeat him pretty easily.
Not necessarily.
More powerful.
I don't see that really being the case as in being more powerful.
Because when he was just a human, he was just a human.
Right, but he could snap anybody's neck with a thought.
Well, yeah, but now he can snap anybody's neck from not just miles away, but in a different dimension.
Freddy Krueger as a person was a bad guy. He didn't become the big bad until he died and went to a different realm of existence, the dreamscape, right? Mm-hmm. Vecna was a pretty bad guy in real life. He not real life, but as a human. No, I think he's still alive. I don't think he's dead. I think he's still alive, honestly. But on that, and the really world, I hate to say really world when we're talking about a fictional TV show, but so I think he had powers, but he was no more powerful than, let's say, 11, because 11 was able to shunt him over to the Upside Down.
Mhm.
While he has been over and Upside Down, he's been slowly. The way they worded it in the show is he's been slowly growing powers as the show continues. Each one of
Which
those
is why I
kids,
think. Go ahead.
each one of those kids that he takes, he builds his power sources, cranking up.
Mhm.
Like Freddy Krueger. The more people that are afraid of Freddy Krueger, the more powerful he is. I think the more people this guy feeds off their emotional damage, because each of those kids that he's killed so far, including almost Max, all has emotional damage.
Yeah, because he went after his parents and he used the things that they did against them. The dad, when he ordered the shelling of the house that he thought the Germans were in, and we don't know what his mom did. Probably something he didn't like. So he's using that to weaken them, because presumably he sees people that are in a weak state, and then he uses the thing that's putting them in that weak state to weaken them even further, so that he can kill them easier.
So I don't know. I mean, this is all speculation until not June, July 10th. This was a lot of best speculation. I think
Yeah.
if they're wrapping up the
Maybe
show,
I feel like if there's another season, well, if season 4 is the last one, then I feel like it's pretty safe to say that Vecna is in charge of the whole thing.
yeah.
But if there is another season, then it's a bit more. It's not as easy to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Vecna's just a minion of something bigger. Because it's either one of two theories I have. Either Elle creates the Upside Down,
Which I don't think.
when she wants to send him away, which is mega powerful.
However,
Yeah.
if you do notice, when he's falling through, the area that he's falling through, it could just be because he's high up, but there's mountains on both sides of him, which I find weird.
Which means the Upside Down has existed for a very long time,
Mhm.
or some amount of time, and therefore there would be something to mirror our world's world leader, whoever that secretive figure that runs the world. There would be somebody in the Upside Down who, in turn, rules the world of the Upside Down.
It was weird because I think it was when Nancy went to go get her gun in the Never Never, they realized that the Never Never stopped aging 4 year or X amount of years ago when the first gate was open.
Mm-hmm.
Which
When
is
first
I
gate-
find it weird that the timeline is a bit weird in the show.
yeah,
Which means Elle could have created the Upside Down.
or
I think what it was is that when the really big portal opened, it did something to cause the Upside Down to go from the world we see in season 4 to the world we see on the show. Because when we first see it, it almost looks like a planet that's just being formed. There's no vines, there's no grass. You just see hills, and that's it. As he's falling.
even in season, yeah, okay, I get what you're going with. But how much longer was she at that hospital after she shunted him into the other verse?
Wait, so the
79.
79, and then season 5. This is 4 years. So 2 years, I think.
So she was still at the hospital.
No, isn't it like? Well, yeah.
Yeah, if that happened in 79, season 4 takes, or let's assume season 3 takes place in 84, which we know for a fact. Then that would be 3 years. Yeah, so 81. Unless I'm getting the timeline wrong.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's a couple of YouTube channels that have done the timeline, but they're about a year. But the last video I saw was like a year ago. So who knows if they've been updated?
Because it could. I know that season 1 and season 2 are almost exactly a year apart. I think they're 11 months apart, so they're almost exactly a year apart. Then that one is in October. Season 3 is Summer Vacation, which would be half a year. And then this one is through Spring Break, which would be less than half a year. So it seems like the intervals between seasons are being cut in half every time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know. So it could even be that she was there. I'm gonna assume she was there 2 or 3 years after 79. So either she left in 81, she left in 81 or 82. Maybe 83, I don't know. But those 2 years are what I think, when I think she left.
Well, the project MK started in 53.
Yeah.
MK Ultra.
Ultra started with 53, and that kid was, God, 10 years old.
Yeah,
11
so
years old.
maybe he got experimented on, or maybe it was.
Well, yeah,
some
because he got
other
the.
weird thing.
He did because he had the tattoo as.
No, he got the tattoo when he got to Hawkins after he killed his family, because he killed his family, or he really didn't kill his whole family. He just killed his mom and his daughter intentionally, or his sister. So he killed his mom because she was going to call Dr. Brenner to fix him, which he didn't want to do, but she called him thinking he would fix him in whatever way.
Mm-hmm.
And then after his family died, then Brenner took him, made it look like he died there as well. Then Victor Creel killed his entire family, not just the wife and kid. So Brenner took him in, faked his death, then gave him the tattoo. Because we see when he gets the tattoo, he's in a building, he's in the Hawkins facility.
Makes sense. I don't know. I'm looking at what they're thinking the timeline is, and
Yeah, same thing here.
I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how they do the last season.
Okay, so season 1 takes place in 83.
83.
Which would mean that she spends 4 years. So I was way off.
Was she? What do you mean? She escapes from.
In 83, yes. I mean, she escapes in 83. The massacre happens at 79.
Right, but
So-
she was out running around with Michael and the kids for part of that time.
I mean,
You mean the very first time she escapes from Hawkins' lab?
in 83. When the first season,
Yeah.
season 1.
Because she looked like
The
she
4 years-
was.
Okay.
Because if you watch watch it when she's looking at her reflection in the mirror when she's going through the memories, she looks like she was maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah,
was
she's
young.
definitely younger than she was in season 1.
Yeah.
Much
So
younger.
I think that she was already. I don't know. I don't know. I think she put the guy in there. If the program got started in what year did I say?
The program
53.
probably started- Yeah, MK Ultra started in 53.
53. The guy who played Vector was probably 10, 11 years old when he did all that. Go to 80, 83. He should be 33 years old.
Yeah.
So the guy who played him is 33. The character should be 33. I give or take. But that's Hollywood magic for you. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Dustin, his actor, I keep forgetting his name, is 20. Then Joe Creaney, the guy who plays Steve, is 30. So
You're kidding.
yeah, he's 30.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
He's 30.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood magic. Hollywood magic. It's weird. All right. So we're coming let's see. We've talked about the characters, our favorites and our non. We talked about the era, just the era as a whole. I mean, if me and your dad really can get it, wanted to, we could make a whole show just talking about that era.
Yeah.
And
great.
it really was. We talked about the references, all the movie reference, all the monster references. There was a few other references they made, but I've been told about, but they didn't stick out. The horror movies, just because I grew up watching horror movies, man.
Yeah.
You know what bothers me? You know, it's really weird is Freddy Krueger in those movies you think would give normal kids nightmares. Didn't touch me at all. I see the movie, any movie I saw that was based on a true event or could happen, that's what would give me nightmares. Freddy Krueger, none of them could touch me. Show me a movie or read me something that really could happen or has happened. I was going to have a nightmare that night, which I always thought was kind of weird.
What about Jaws?
Jaws never affected me whatsoever because
Jaws is very unrealistic.
There's no way a great white shark would be going up to Maine, even in the summer. I've been to Maine. It could be 93 degrees. It could be 103 degrees, and that water is still too fucking cold. I mean, there's just, no, I've done that. Ferry Beach, Maine. I went up there for a week for camping. It's like, oh, there's an ocean. I jump in. I'm missing something. Oh, what's that? Something I dropped 10 years ago. So a great white shark could not deal with that.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it just didn't happen. And
Jaws, there's a lot of things with that movie that bothered. Actually, Annie, what was that? Not Poltergeist, Amityville Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That messed with me a little bit. I've always been slightly superstitious to begin with, and that movie messed with me a little bit. So, but no, there's a lot of good references, a lot of the 80s, a lot of good 80s references. Honestly, the whole pool scene from the 80s to like the late 90s didn't change. That was what you saw every time you went to the pool. I mean, it was its own little time capsule.
I was a lifeguard for a period of time, and that's exactly what you would find.
Yeah,
especially the mom.
Yeah. God, I did lifeguarding. I did lifeguarding there for a couple of years myself in my high school years, mainly because I was on the swimming team, and to stay on the swimming team, I had to be a lifeguard. I swear that coach has some BS rules, but I went along with it. So does my rugby coach, but that's besides the point. It was a proper 70s horror film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I like Poltergeist a little bit more when it comes to the supernatural ghost movies, but that's just my taste. I'm trying to think if we're missing anything. We did music. We've talked about music. We talked about the characters. We've talked about the time, the era, just the era by itself.
How about predictions of what we think is going to come in the next 2 episodes?
How do we want the show to end if it does end? That's a good question.
I know one thing I'm pretty certain of is that Elle and Mike are going to have this happily ever after type thing, or at least that Eleven's going to have a happy ending because that's what Millie Bobby Brown wants for the character.
Yeah. What you want in one hand, and
it's certainly possible that they go against that and just kill her, have her sacrifice herself, which I think is possible, but I have a feeling they're not going to want to do that.
No.
Gotcha. All right.
It also depends if these next 2 episodes are the last ones, because I know what's the guy's name? The guy who plays Hopper.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I know in an interview he said something about season 5, but he could have been referring to season 4, part 2. He could have just said season 5 to be simple,
Yeah.
instead of having to say season 4, volume 2,
Mm-hmm.
which is a much more complicated name than just season
So
5.
you want the happy ending.
Well, I'm not saying I wanted, which I may or may not. Mike is kind of a dick, but
Nick is very much a dick.
yeah. But I think that that's the route they want to go.
Okay.
I don't think they want to kill. I mean, I don't think they're going to kill Mike,
No.
and I definitely don't think they're going to kill 11. That those two things are the only things I'm very
If
certain
they want to have any sort of potential, future, any other projects relating to this, if they want to just cut it off and done deal. I know they're not going to go a Game of Thrones sort of let's shoot ourselves in the foot at the very last second.
I never watched Game of Thrones, but
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go that route. I just think that
there was a lot about Game of Thrones that was good, but there was also a lot about Game of Thrones that was just bad, and that's not.
If they're smart, they're going to leave it. They're going to leave a lot of things unanswered and unresolved, regardless of whether or not they finish this series in July or not. The idea of the Upside Down and other actors and characters and things coming along and dealing with it could make up an entire Stargate sort of television show if they wanted
they
to.
already made a book. I think there might have been 2 books, but I don't think one of them is canon.
Not to mention what's going on in Russia and anywhere else that wants to make these kind of portals and that sort of situation.
I do really like the stuff with Russia.
I really think they're going to leave a lot of things unresolved and open, and keep you wondering, to keep people talking and buying merchandise and putting money into. That was a good movie. Thirsty.
I was just like, that's the roller ring scene. I didn't think about that, but that was a roller ring.
The roller ring scene was just a Carrie reference. That whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, taking a skate to the head. Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that she had lost her powers in season 3, that would have just been scary.
What show, Kai, are you talking about?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
The Game of Thrones books, and in season 6 was when they started the book series.
Didn't read the books, didn't watch the
I
show.
honestly think, Jack, you're a tad bit too young for the books, and you're way too damn young for the series. When you get
I don't
older,
really have big interest in watching Game of Thrones now, but
okay. This is how I would watch. This is how I would tell anybody to watch the Game of Thrones series: first, second, third, first through 5th. Then just stop. Just, and I tell people to do that with Arrow, and I loved Arrow on the CW Arrow, 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Flash 1 through 3rd. Stop. Stop. The moment they jump the shark, quit, because it doesn't get any better.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so you're thinking that they're going to have let's all hold hands and everything will be good at the end.
No, I'm thinking that for that 11's going to live, and presumably 11 and Mike are going to live together or stay alive.
And make 12s and 13s?
There's already a 12 and a 13. Isn't 17 the highest? Isn't there 18, isn't there 16, not including 1?
I just meant make babies and live happily.
I know what you meant, but what I'm saying is the highest number we ever hear is 17. And I think it'd be weird for him to just say, to have 17 be at the end of the line. Also, I think 17 was the youngest.
They also made a big thing about 13. They never showed you who 13 was.
They didn't? I mean, I know there's comics as well that showed off some of the other numbers.
Right. Well, even the comic books are not. It's like in the very first season, the very first episode, where the doctor goes in there and he's takes the one kid to go see what the other people are doing. They switched the black kid out in the TV series. In the TV series, it was a black kid. In the comic books, it was a white blonde that was taken to the other room that he was asked to look upon with the red bricks and everything. But I don't know what to say about that because.
Wait, are you talking about number 6? Was it?
Yeah, when the Doctor came in. What?
Wasn't it the other way? That in the comics he was black and in the show he was white.
It was something.
Are you talking
like
about?
that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
In the beginning, when you see Dr. Brenner with the kid and he's trying to look at things, the very beginning.
Remote viewing. When he's remote viewing the other doctor and what the other kid is doing. The other doctor, and when you see them walking past each other in the hallway, right? The other doctor and the kid was supposed to be a blonde girl, not a black boy. So they don't even have it straight in the comic books, which I don't know. This is the ginger swapping. Like, so far the TV show has came before the comics, so I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell people. Somebody.
Yeah. Also, apparently in the comics there was those twins, and one of them didn't have powers, which didn't make any sense. Why would she be there if she didn't have any
support?
So.
Maybe the other twin needed her around to use her powers. I don't know.
I don't know. I never read the comics.
Yeah, and they never went back to that group of kids with powers when Elle ran away from home, kind of thing.
I thought they died.
No, I thought the kids with powers.
I thought there was only 3 survivors. 8, 1, 8, and 11. Because the other kids all died.
Yeah, because she ran away. I have to rewatch that. I might just fast forward that part because I thought that part was kind of boring. I have to go back and watch it. Okay.
I could see that coming back in the, to the rescue, the cavalry, so to speak.
Wait, what kids are you talking about?
That Indian girl. Boys. Yeah, in the van when they're driving around, committing crimes and.
Oh, number 8.
Yeah, I guess.
Number 8 was the only one of the group that had powers. Yeah, that episode.
I thought
the one that no one liked.
Yeah.
In season 2, number 8 escaped very early on. That's why when the orderly says, "Remember back before," it was around the time when 8 left. So 8 left very early on.
Okay.
Because we see 11 and 8 playing when 11's mother comes in and gets taken away. We see that, and that's number 8. And then she leaves not too far after that, and then becomes a criminal over in Pennsylvania.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was not jumping the shark, but that's some weird writing. All right.
Also, number 8 doesn't. I believe she can just make people see things. She can't actually do anything.
Wonderbar. She should become a politician.
You should.
So what's your prediction, Shadow?
They're going to do whatever they can to leave as much open-ended for potential another series, another book, a movie, whatever they want. If they're really dumb, they will end it all and say, the end at the end of the credits.
If they're dumb, but if they just want to have it be a 4 or 5 season thing, and that's it. Which is, they clearly don't because they already wrote a book and made the comics, but I don't think the comics are very connected. But the book is, I think it's Darkness on the Edge of Town, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I really have no other predictions other than that because there's too many, for me, questions.
It's very different if you think that there's going to be 4 seasons or 5 seasons. If it's 5 seasons, then they're going to have a thing where the Mind Flayer's either dead or practically out of the picture, and then they need to regroup and kill Vecna, and it's the end. And if it's season 5, then just instead of that, it's they kill Vecna, and then season 5 is to finally get rid of the Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
Or whatever other thing is above him.
Right.
Which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up nicely.
But that's so generic that it's not really a prediction. It's more of a
understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
This is my prediction. I'm mean. I'm not a very nice person. I can live with that though. I got people who like me. I can deal with it. My prediction: 11 is stuck in the Never Never. She goes to fight off Vecna. She gets all juiced up with mental magic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He goes, has the big fight with him because really the rest of the kids are nothing more than dead weight.
Yeah.
They're dead weight with pointy sticks.
Yeah.
She gets over there. The only way to save the world and the people she loves is to be stuck over in Hellverse with Vecna, the touchy orderly. If I was one writing this, I'd end it like a good H.P. Lovecraft. Everybody's fucked. I don't care if you don't like this. I don't care if you don't like me. You're still going to sit down and watch it. Then when you're done watching it, it's like, did I just watch what I just saw I just watched? I'm going to watch that episode again. No. Levin's stuck over there with Touchy McGee. The kids are dead or in bad shape. One of the older kids is definitely dead. Eddie, Steve, Nancy and Steve, they're having almost a she's not cheating, but she's almost cheating on Jonathan with her ex.
Well, Jonathan and Nancy are still together, but it's a whole thing where they probably won't be very long.
Yeah, Jonathan was playing outside of his league with Nancy. I hate to be that guy, but Nancy is major, and Jonathan is still playing t-ball.
Yeah,
100% correct there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but we know the math. Me and your dad understand how the math works. Eventually, you will too, and hopefully, it's nicer to you than it is to most people. That being said, 11 stuck over there. Mike is in bad shape. Dustin's in bad shape. One of the older kids, if not two of the older kids, are dead.
Most people think Steve is going to die because of the bite from the bats.
Yeah, I heard that. And actually, if you look from if we might have to talk about this on Gatekeeper, Table Breakers, if you noticed in these novels, once the characters become a whole person, which Steve is finally becoming a whole person, they die.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction. It's going to be bad. It's going to be rough. Some people are going to be crying. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fictional show. Get your dice, get a character sheet, and make a new character. Because tell you what, Hollywood's doing the same damn thing.
Yeah. Also, we haven't really talked much about Hopper.
Hopper? I think he's
and
supposed
really
to die.
just the Russians in general.
I think, well, he's okay. You're right. We didn't talk about Hopper. Hopper had enough. I don't know where Hopper was a vet from Vietnam, but he wasn't like a proper vet. I'm not saying there's proper, non-proper, but he wasn't a combatant vet. He was. I'm cooking Agent Orange and dousing people with it. Vet. That's the way I read it. Shadow, did you see it that way?
Yeah, but I'm sure he's not talking about a lot of other stuff.
Because we know when 11 goes down, there's the box that says New York, Vietnam, and Hawkins Lab. We know what the New York box is because of the Darkness on the Edge of Town book, which is basically about one of the... Because it basically says MK Ultra actually started in Vietnam, or it started in Vietnam or whatever, and the first guy... or at least a part of MK Ultra started, or something similar to it. I don't remember if it was actually MK Ultra or some sort of sister project or a sub project. I don't remember. I haven't read the book. But the first guy, Test Subject 0 or something, or number 1 or whatever, he he leaves. He's the only survivor from the program. He starts a cult in New York, and Hopper has to stop this cult. So that's what is in the New York box. And we found out about other stuff about Hopper's past in that book. But that's what the New York box is. It's that book.
Was this called The Darkness in the Edge of Town?
I think so. You could probably also, if that's not the case, then you can probably just find it from like Stranger Things book, and it's the one about Hopper. So we know what's in.
Continue.
Yeah, so we know what the Hawkins lab box is because Eleven looks through it. We now know what New York is, and we know a bit about what's in the Vietnam box, but he didn't say enough to know everything in that box. And the people behind the show, the Duffer Brothers and a bunch of others, have said that the things in that box are very, very important. And there's two possible options. Either we're going to find out what they are in season 4 or 5, which I doubt, or they're just lying. Those are the two options. Either that box, or we already found out, and it's the whole Agent Orange thing. It's either very simple, and they were lying, we're not going to see it, and they were lying, or we're going to see it in season 5 or 4. But it seems like there's not enough time. But I guess the whole thing with him escaping Russia could go into that.
I don't even know how that even worked, to be completely honest. The whole escape plan is like, okay, this is bad.
Yeah, it's incredibly...
It made sense before Yuri betrayed them, but then once Yuri sold them out to the communists, how are they going to get back?
I mean, there was the plane scene. They're now stuck in Russia.
We're stuck in Russia. We're not going to be able to escape. I mean, I like the scene with the Demogorgon, getting to see the Demogorgon not just fight, but fight in an open area was really fun. And I'm glad that those two guys survived. But how do they plan on escaping?
Yeah, considering
the plane crashed, they're not just going to swim across the Bering Strait.
And they left their hostage. They let their hostage go, that being the commander.
Well, no, they didn't let him go. They knocked him out.
Right, but there's so
Someone
many
could get him.
Yeah.
But maybe they left the doors locked. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 12-hour. That is a Darkness. Stranger Things, Darkness at the Edge of the Town. It is a 11-hour and 44-minute audio book. You know what? Why not? I'm going to get it. It's going to be on the back pile, but it's on the books I'm going to listen to. Because your dad and everybody else has been adding books to this list. I almost got it down to a reasonable amount. I think I was like at 15 at the beginning of winter. Now it's back up to like somewhere in the mid-20s. No, I hope my prediction's wrong. I really do. I like to see the show have a happy ending. But at the same time, I kind of want to quote one of my favorite Game of Thrones character when I say this: if you're expecting a happy ending, then you have not been paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say earlier. This whole thing has an H.P. Lovecraft feel to it.
A little.
Yeah.
A little.
I mean, not a little. It's not a full H.P. Lovecraft mythos, Cthulhu mythos.
It's missing a lot of. It's missing a lot of elements, but yes.
But it feels like you took one monster from one Lovecraftian monster and made a story about just that one.
There is actually, speaking of H.P. Lovecraft, I was watching a video with Shawner, and after I got the video with Shawner in my Amazon, it pointed out Stranger Things, the role-playing game using the 5E system. There's a part of me that kind of wants to run it. I don't know if I will, but
I've run equivalent type stories using different game engines. Yeah. Back in the day where the players played kids, etc. Yeah. And it could be a lot of fun, depending on how old you are, I think. If you're in your 60s, playing kids might not be the ideal game.
That's kind of weird.
But, yeah.
I think I actually Yeah. But I have heard a lot of people say that Stranger Things is just a very long D&D game.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of is, because the kids are even leveling up if you look at it from that point of view.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and not just that it could be, but that it actually just the whole story is this group of 5 friends made this D&D story, and then eventually whoever Max is gets brought in, and then it's just these five kids, or 4, and then they made a 5th kid, and then they become friends and start a D&D game, and that's the whole story. I don't like that idea. It's weird, but I can see how it's. I can. It's a lot. It's a common idea, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Or it's a popular theory.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're on 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Bloody hell. 2 hours and 15 minutes. I love talking to you guys. I can talk to you all day. I think we hit most of it on the head. I think there's still a little bit more meat on the table that we can do next week, or we can get back to after the second part of Stranger Things come out later in July. It's up to you two. I'd be more than glad to talk about this with you guys longer if you wanted to. Just, you know, but I train of thought just
Next week.
What?
What's on tap for next week? Any ideas?
Your call.
This was my recommendation. It's your turn or his turn.
Well, it was my recommendation to pass the recommendation down onto you.
Okay.
So it's your call, Shadow. What are we doing? What are we doing this coming Sunday? I'm pretty sure neither one of you guys have finished Full Moons, so not going to push on that button.
We could do that. We could do that.
Yeah, let's do that. If he'll commit to finishing book 1 and book 2.
I finished book 1. Okay, I finished.
Wait! Hold on. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen who watch this later?
He
finished the last 20 minutes. Okay, we're gonna push on this really quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Let's
push
do
on
that then. For me, it's just listening about a half hour, maybe rewinding a little bit.
Okay.
If he'll commit to the 8 hours required to do the audiobook,
It's
then
only 8 hours.
8, 12, something like that.
All right. So if you can knock out Full Moon by this next Sunday, we will talk about the last 20 minutes of Stormfront, and we'll talk about Full Moon, and we might have. I'll see if I can wrangle up from a Table Breakers to join us on this. What do you guys think about that?
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Hot damn, he got through the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to say congratulations to you, Jack, for getting your award last night. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, it wasn't I'm not going to say it wasn't an award, but it was a invitation to a filmmaking thing during high school. That's really cool, and I can see why your dad is very proud of you, because you keep this stuff up, and your future is going to be whatever you want. And I tell you what, I absolutely hate saying that to the people, but yours very well could be whatever you want. If it be military, if it be becoming a priest, or whatever you want, just keep doing hard work. Hard work is the key to everything you want in your future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That and proper education. I'm not saying college, because college, you can go to trade school and get just as good paying a job. But depends on what you want to do. And I tell my daughter the same thing. My daughter wants to do fashion. She makes little outfits for her dolls, and they're really good. I'm actually half tempted to have her make me a few things for one of the sports I'm in. But that's besides the point. So congratulations. Either way, that's awesome. Your dad's been bragging about you the last couple times I've seen him. All these awards you won. Hey, be nice to your dad. Be nice to your dad. Not all parents are like that. I wish I had your dad as an older brother, because I'm not going to say dad because that's weird. We're two. I mean, I'm what 38. You're what 10 years
55.
older?
55.
Yeah,
So you know
or
what? You know what? It's actually technically possible.
it is plausible.
No,
Hey.
possible. Well, not plausible. But in another world, it could have happened.
Right.
Technically.
So, with that being said, guess what
Wouldn't that be
time it
weird,
is, Jack?
That,
It's your favorite
Yeah.
moment, favorite part of the show. Any words for wisdom?
I have mine. I just don't know how to word it. You go.
Same as it always is. Play the games you love with the people you love.
Jack?
All right. I came up with this when I was watching a movie about a kid stealing shoes. Don't steal because you don't have it. For that is proving that you don't deserve to have it in the first place.
That's really insightful. That is very insightful. My words of wisdom is quite simple, and it came from one of my favorite Disney movies. you're only in trouble if you get caught. With that being said, roll your dice in the dark and fill out your character sheet with the Quran. You all have a good night. Thank you two for joining me this Sunday. Can't wait for next Sunday.
Been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the chat, and have a great week, everybody.
God bless.